A redraw gets some people fired up and leads to some pretty ridiculous social media posts, something we're going to discuss on today's edition of the Sprint Car Unlimited 90 at 9. We're going to get after it right away, so here it goes. At Baps Motor Speedway Sunday, drivers were told at the drivers' meeting that the redraw for the heat winners and the fast cars that qualified through those heats would take place at a designated spot 5 minutes after the fourth and final heat race. When it came time for the redraw, 5 of the 8 drivers showed up, and a 6th one came late and was allowed to draw despite being out of sequence. Here's where it gets a little tricky. The 2 drivers who didn't go to the redraw, Devin Borden and Dylan Norris, were credited with the 7th and 8th starting spot in the A main. Later, a crew member for one of these teams indicated that some drivers, not all the drivers, were reminded by officials about not missing the redraw. Look, we could talk about drivers not showing up at the redraw, which is pretty inexcusable. We could also talk about the penalty, or we could talk about officials reminding some drivers and not others about the redraw, which is also something that shouldn't happen. But that's not my focus here. My ire is toward a popular local Facebook page in which the comments jump from head scratching right to absurd. The rhetoric hinted at a conspiracy concerning Norris, in which his former car owner, Scott Gobrecht, had it in for him. There was also something about Gobrecht being partners with Mike Hefner and Devin Borden leaving Hefner's team a few years ago. Whatever it was nonsense. And then there were accusations of the track taking care of its superiors, a reference to high-profile teams. First off, I was in the tower. Gobrecht, who owns the track, and general manager Colton Gauss weren't in the vicinity most of the night. They didn't even know about the redraw snafu. How do I know? I was producing the pay-per-view and was near the race director the entire night. As for the superiors comment, that just lacks knowledge. Here's my examples. Anthony Macri was penalized for a jump, and it cost him a race last year. Danny Dietrich has been disqualified in the past at Baps Motor Speedway. So unless these 2 drivers, the 2 best guys in central Pennsylvania, became quote-unquote superior during the offseason, these comments lack common sense. As for the issue itself, there are differing thoughts and opinions which have been expressed on social media. As for the nonsensical conspiracy theories, let's hope people don't actually believe that stuff. How about we leave those things for politics, or maybe that show Umbrella Theory on Netflix? Just some food for thought. That's going to wrap up this edition of the Sprint Car Unlimited 90 at 9, and we'll be back Wednesday. Stay tuned.